Hey friends, Dave Paulides, Canadian Missing Project. That is Huck L. Berry. Huck is very happy today. It's a little cooler, huh? Yeah, it's a little cooler for you. Yeah, it's a good girl. Oh, yeah, it's a good girl. You're a good girl. Yeah. She likes scratches on her head. She's been a very good girl. Yeah, she... Oh, that's a big yawn, yeah. That's a big yawn. I'll give you more scratches later, I promise, okay? All right. Remember to watch Missing 411 National Parks? Watch it on YouTube, pay-per-view, and on Amazon right now. Please, go watch it. We need them. We need the views. And we need, if you have watched it, please go leave a review. That's like the most important thing for us. All righty. Thanks for being here. I'm Dave Paulides. Recently, there was a review posted on Amazon. And I don't read the reviews, but somebody asked me to comment on an email. So I said, sure, I'll comment. So I went over there and I read it. And somebody absolutely blasted me. Hold on one sec here. Okay, here we go. Somebody absolutely blasted me about Missing 411 National Parks, Washington State. They gave me a 1-star review because they said I was blasting and being rude about the National Park Rangers at Olympic National Park. It's not true. Let me make this clear. Absolutely clear. And I stated this at least 100 times. The frontline rangers in national parks are a treasure. They do their job for next to nothing, and they help out you and me when we go and visit. They're always nice. They're always polite. I've never had a problem with them. So somebody has a comprehension issue. What I have stated, and I will state it 100 more times, is that the management inside the national park system is horrendously compromised. If you've watched Missing 411 National Parks, Washington State, you will see what I mean. We brought up blatant examples of how in one search and rescue they approve A, and on another search and rescue just a few miles away, they deny a type of search. No reason. No reason. They never told the people, the families, why. Just indiscriminate. No, we're not going to do it. You can't do it. Nah. And there's several times this has happened. As an example, in one search, they'll say, oh yeah, we're going to bring in canines to help. Another search in essentially the same area, no, we're not bringing in canines. And no, you can't bring in or ask to bring in canines either. Well, wait a minute, if the canine's certified and it comes from a certified search and rescue team, why can't we bring it in? Another time, they say that they bring in, by the way, if you bring in and use a drone in a national park, you can be cited, arrested, and your drone confiscated. And the fines are out of this world. But they can use drones for search and rescue, which is good. And they have in many search and rescues. But then another search and rescue in almost the identical same place, they'll say no. Or how about if we call in another search and rescue team to supplement who's already out there? No. It's indiscriminate. It's arbitrary. There's never any rationale for the reasons behind it. This is why I call out the national parks. Management, not the frontline people. And trust me, I've got my ducks in order. I know exactly what I'm saying. I know exactly the circumstances. I went to great extent to get the reports on these cases. I read them. I understand what they're doing. It just appears in some instances they want to be lazy and they want to get it over with as quick as they can. And then in another incident where there's maybe some politics involved and some people involved, then they'll go the whole distance. Yeah, and that's blatantly brought out in the movie. And I didn't have to say it. A relative of one of the victims said it. It was obvious that they were doing more for this search because of the political implications. Yeah. So, I've said it before and I'll say it again, that if you know somebody who's being searched for and you don't think they're doing an adequate job, you call your congressman ASAP. Let that congressman intervene, call DC, and get inside their head and say, hey, why aren't you helping these people? That'll help. You yelling in their ear probably won't help. Just so you know, the research into the sickness at the Grand Canyon National Park is still ongoing. They haven't really figured anything out yet, which is disappointing. And like I said before, the last thing I would do is float down the Colorado River through the Grand Canyon Gorge right now. Based on the number of people who are getting sick, there's no way. So, I appreciate you sending me in cases. Otherwise, I never hear about some of these because they don't get national attention. So please send them in. If they match a missing 411 profile, I want to know about it. In this next case, I think it does. And this is a case that really touches my heart because it involves a nurse. During my career as a policeman, I got hurt a couple times. Had to go to the hospital. It was about my second year as a policeman. I stopped a guy at a park, and he had some cocaine on him. I was by myself. As I was turning him around, ready to handcuff him, he broke away and he ran. I chased him. As I was running through the grasses, trying to catch this guy over a lawn, through the brook, I tripped over something, and my right knee hit perfectly on a sprinkler head that didn't have a sprinkler head on it. It was just a piece of pipe sticking up out of the ground, and my knee impaled itself on that pipe. Oh, did that hurt. I was pretty young, and I just looked down, and I didn't even think about my knee and all the blood. I thought about, oh my gosh, there's a $125 pair of pants down the tubes. Anyhow, some other guys responded. They caught the guy. He went to jail. No biggie. I went to the hospital, and the reason I'm telling you this, I went to the hospital, and the nurses and the doctors were the best in the emergency room. And over my years of taking prisoners to get cleared before you take them to a jail, emergency room physicians and nurses are the best. I've never met any that were not absolutely top-notch, polite to the end. I think I told you the story once that I took a prisoner, and the doctor, who was this young doctor, kind of obstinate, ordered me to take one of the handcuffs off so the guy could move around. I said, hey, he's already fought us into these handcuffs. If I take one off, he's going to fight again. And they had like a security guard. He goes, oh, I'll get a security guard from the hospital here to help you. So the security guard was standing there. The second I took the handcuff off, the prisoner turns around and fires and hits this doctor right in the nose and knocks him down. Me and the security guard jumped the guy, eventually get him back into handcuffs. The doctor goes staggering into the next room, and about 10 minutes later, the nurse brings me out the sheet to clear him and says, the doctor says he doesn't want to see him. You can have your clearance. So, okay. So we took him to jail. But I'm sure that ER doctor will never forget that. Now, this story is about a missing emergency room nurse. So when I started to read this, my heart was into it. And I'm still very worried about this case for a multitude of reasons. And the case involves a lady named Angelica Brophy, 44 years old, missing July 6, 2026. There's a picture of Angelica, and that name doesn't get past me. Angelica, Angel. She was a resident of Oceanside, California, married, has 2 kids. She's a licensed, registered nurse, and she's been licensed by the state of California since 2009. She's employed by an emergency room RN at Kaiser Hospital in San Marcos, California. There's another picture of her. She's a runner, hiker, athlete, stays in shape. People have reported that she was always upbeat, happy. Some people said that they've hiked with her before, and on the trail, she'll just burst out singing out loud. Just whatever song comes to mind, she doesn't care. Now that's a hoot. I like being around people like that. So in the past, she's lived in Lancaster, a city called Canyon Country, Sherman Oaks, Van Nuys, Concord, and Valencia, California. Her husband is a military veteran, U.S. Air Force. He's employed by a defense contractor as a network engineer. So on July 5th, Angelica, which is a Sunday, Angelica took her 2 kids to have lunch with family and friends at this location. They later reported she was just her standard, fun, great self, nothing unusual, had a great time, kids were fun, nothing suspicious at all. Now, at Kaiser, she worked the night shift starting at 7 p.m. at night. I'm guessing they worked 12-hour shifts, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Don't quote me on that, it's just a guess. Well, the next day, July 6th, Monday, she was supposed to report to work at 7 p.m. Well, at 9:30 in the morning, she dropped off her daughter at a summer camp. She saw some other parents there, and some people close to her said that another parent volunteered, hey, since I'm going to be here, why don't I just pick up the kids and I'll take them home for you? She said, great. Well, this is where it starts to get, to me, a little unusual. At 3:30 p.m., it's confirmed by a closed-circuit TV that she is seen leaving a Harrah's casino alone. This isn't way out of the way. It's kind of in her area. But she's seen leaving it alone. They didn't say what time she got there. And it's never been stated what she was doing inside, if she was gambling. Did she meet somebody and have coffee, lunch? Did she go to a hotel room because it is a hotel? It's never said, which is odd. 50 minutes later, at 4:20 p.m., Angelica drives her vehicle to the gated entry at Mount Palomar State Park. Oceanside police, who have this case now, later confirmed that she did pay and she was alone. So, let's go through this because this is important. She was at the Harrah's Resort right here. And she took this road about 15, 16 miles, a half-hour drive up to Palomar Mountain. And that's where the state park is at. Everyone got it? See it? So, Down in here is where she works at the Kaiser Hospital in San Marcos. Right there, that H. It's another picture of her. So she drives her vehicle, goes in, parks it. At 7 p.m. that night, Angelica's husband starts calling friends and family because he couldn't get her on the phone. And she hadn't arrived for work. That was her 7 p.m. ER shift. Some nurse friends said that the behavior is unheard of from her. Her husband spoke to one of her brothers, she has 5 of them, asked if he had spoke to her, and he said that he hadn't. So the brother, starts calling family members saying if any of them had heard from her. At 9 p.m., after calling everyone he knew, the husband contacts the Oceanside police. Nobody knew where she was. The phone just immediately went to disconnect when he called her cell, and he reported her as a missing person. This whole time this is going on, my mind is going a million miles an hour. Because there's, to me, a lot of weird stuff going on in this. So Oceanside takes a report on July 6th at about 9 p.m. July 7th, the next day, Oceanside detectives got the case. They arrived for work. It's a priority case. And they immediately asked her phone carrier to ping her phone. And they stated that the battery was dead and the phone had been turned off. So now what the police have to do is to issue a subpoena and ask the phone company to get the location of the last time that phone was pinged. It's one thing to ask if it's on or off. That's the first thing they asked. Now to get the location, it's a little bit of privacy issue, so the phone companies require a subpoena. Not a big deal. So they issue the subpoena, and that takes a while to work its way through so they can pull out the data. The other thing I would be asking is, who was the last person she talked to? And what were the last messages on her text message? Things that haven't been discussed. We've got thunder over us right now, so maybe in the background you might hear a little thunder. So on July 8th, friends and family and police had been checking every known location that Angelica would have went to. Everything in her past, they were checking. On the next day, the 9th, phone company responds back and says the last ping on her phone was in the area of Mount Palomar State Park. So the police spread everybody out, and her husband goes up and finds her car like this, backed into a parking space. That is her car. That is exactly how they found it. Now, you may call me weird. There aren't a lot of people that back into parking spaces these days. I'm just telling you, I watch. A lot of people don't really know how to back up very well. But what I pay close attention to is, you notice how the tires are equidistant from that line? She backed up almost perfectly into that stall. Now maybe that was the way she operated. I don't know. But facts are facts. They found the car, which is good. So the San Diego County Sheriffs, that's their jurisdiction there, and the California State Park Police arrive. They search the car. Inside, they find her purse, cash, passport. See, when I heard passport, I thought, well, that's weird. But then I went to another site, and they said that the friends of hers that hiked with her, traveled with her, said she always carried her passport in her purse. Maybe she had been stopped by ICE before, because she could be construed to look foreign. I don't know. But she carried her passport. It is Southern California. There are stops by Border Patrol in that area every once in a while. So I understand that. And her driver's license was in her purse too. So if her driver's license and her passport were in the car, she wasn't flying anywhere. She couldn't get on an airplane. Just keep that in the back of your head. 7:30, the sheriff's office had already requested a search and rescue call out. So ground pounders, that means people that hike the trails, canines, they were all into that area. And at about this time, they were still waiting for advisories from the phone company on the last ping that they had. They were also putting posters up in the area. Search and rescue worked until past 1 a.m. searching. They got nothing. July 10th, the next day, 8 a.m. to 4:30, search and rescue reinitiated the search. Ground pounders, drones, canines, experienced rangers helped them on the trail. They went off trail. It was very, very, very thorough search. Now, the description of Mount Palomar Park. This is directly from the state. The beautiful forest and mountain meadows of the park are in northern San Diego County, high atop the west side of Palomar Mountain. Large pine, fir, and cedar trees make the park one of the few areas in Southern California with a Sierra Nevada-like feel. Now, why did they say that? Because this is true. In far Southern Cal, they don't get a lot of rain. It's not very moist. It's warm all the time. There's not really a big seasonal change like you have in the mountains and the Sierras. So having an area like this is pretty unusual for San Diego County. The park features camping, picnicking, hiking, fishing. They have this thing in the park called Doan Pond, and they stock it with trout so you can fish there. Coniferous forests cover much of the 1,862 acres, in contrast to the dry lowlands surrounding the mountain. The average elevation in that area is 5,000 feet, so it's not low. And there are a number of panoramic viewpoints in the park. Now, many people don't know this. If you live in SoCal, you know this, but at the top of the mountain is Palomar Observatory. And it's a facility owned by Caltech. They have a 200, a 48, and a 60-inch telescope. The mission of the observatory is scientific investigation in astronomy and astrophysics. The facility is to provide for training for the next generation of scientists and support development of state-of-the-art astronomical instrumentation and share the observatory's research, mission, and tradition with the public. Let me just say this. It's a very unusual place to disappear. Can you get lost there? Oh yeah. Get lost there permanently? That's a hard one, folks. I don't get it. So the next day of the search, July 11th, 8 to 4 p.m., search and rescue continues. Family and friends are on site. Friends had a vigil for her. Ground pounders are going. Drones are up in the air. They find nothing. 3 days of nonstop search. They got nothing. Another unusual part to all this. I know that everybody handles stress, anxiety differently. I understand that. In most search and rescues, the spouse is front and center in the search, talking to the press, beating the drum, keeping people on site, keeping searchers looking. Her husband never was anywhere that I could find. I could not find his name anywhere. Her friends spoke up, her family spoke up, but not her husband. Now, the case is being handled by Detective Ryan Malone of the Oceanside Police. On July 12th, the San Diego Sheriff's Office sent their dive team in to search Doan Pond. Not real deep, not real big. On the 13th, San Diego Harbor Police sent their dive team in to assist in the search. And after 2 days of searching the pond methodically, they found nothing. So many of you might say, well, why would you be searching the pond? Well, if you followed Missing 411, you would know a lot of times these people end up water under entirely unexplained circumstances. Now, one of the odd things of this search is somebody who's hiking along and is distressed. You might find things that they drop. They didn't find anything she dropped. They never reported finding any tracks. They never reported that the canines had a hit on the trail. 10 days after the disappearance, which is why when I'm making this, police haven't said what she was doing at the casino. Did she hit a big jackpot? Did she meet someone? What happened? Did she hit a big jackpot? Dave, what do you care about that for? I care about that because there have been abductions and killings in the parking lots of casinos of women who've been victimized in this manner. So that concerns me. Now, in the middle of the day, it just surprises me that someone like her would be going to the casino. I'm sorry, it just seems odd. Maybe I'm all wrong. Maybe she likes going. I don't know. Friends and family said she likes to hike Mount Palomar State Park. Search and rescue confirmed that all 1,800 acres of the park were searched and nothing was found. The press interviewed her sister-in-law. And the sister-in-law said she's a fantastic mom and would do anything for her kids. It doesn't surprise me with nurses. They care about people so much. It doesn't surprise me at all. Now, remember this. Police stated that they did go to the casino. They did this on like the third or fourth day. They did go to this casino and were trying to recover inside CCTV footage of what she was doing. Stop right there. If there's one location anywhere you go in the public that's covered every foot by cameras, casino. I'm serious. Just the way it is. You go in the door, you're on camera. You're going in the bathroom, you're not on camera. In the bathroom, going in and you're on camera. They know every movement you're making in that casino. So why haven't they released any of that information? I want to know. She was wearing an Apple Watch. Law enforcement found out that it was last pinged further towards the trailhead away from the car, strongly implying she went hiking. Friends said that they thought it was odd she went hiking alone without telling anybody. Because in the past, every time she went hiking alone, she told someone. This time, nobody knew where she was going. Nobody knew she went hiking. So why would she do that? I don't get it. Friends and family are still searching. The oddities in the case. I'm not slamming the husband. Everyone handles grief and anxiety differently. Maybe he doesn't handle it well. I don't know. I'd like to see him more involved. Law enforcement will listen to husbands and wives a lot more than they will friends and others. He may be able to get more search and rescue time if he was just in their ear all the time. I would like to have seen that. Second point. Why aren't the police releasing what she was doing in the casino? Why aren't the police releasing who she met in the casino? I want to know. I think the public wants to know. And it's an important part of why she was there. Where was she from the time she dropped off her daughter until 3:30 in the afternoon when they saw her leaving the casino? Police have never said what time she went in the casino. They know. They haven't released that. So how long was she there? I want to know. And then her car backed in like that. Like I said, I've known a lot of ladies in my life. The vast majority backing and parking that accurately. Most men don't even park that accurately. Most ladies don't even back up. Most ladies just regularly pull in. I think, and oh, I'm going to get a lot of hate mail. Oh, Dave, that's sexist. I'm just telling you facts. I think it's odd. I think it's odd the timing of her phone going off. Right when she's in the park? They never said when the phone was turned off or when the phone went dead. I want to know. It must have went dead long before she took that drive up to the park. Otherwise, the last ping would have been in that area and they would have found it before a 3-day search. A lot of things about this case that the police are being very close-lipped about. Everything I read about Angelica, I like her. I really do. I think she's a good person. I hope that she's found alive and okay with a broken leg off the track. That'd be the best case scenario. Say a prayer for her and her kids. I appreciate you being here. In kindness. I'm still getting ripped on YouTube messages about on my videos. Stop talking about mental health. No, I'm not going to do that. Too many of you have said, you know, Dave, you helped me. 2 of you even said I saved your life. Life's a struggle. I'm the first one to admit it. It's not easy. Resources. You ever feel like you're in that struggle over your head? You get a hold of NAMI, N-A-M-I. They'll talk to you on the phone. You can even drive down there to their offices. They're great people. They can help. So let's be kind to the people we see out there in the public. Appreciate the people that are working hard for us. And keep your mind open and your prayers for Angelica. Paulides out.